I think my biggest fear, I think for a lot of people, is the unknown, like the future and what the future holds, and whether you're gonna be successful or live a good life. I guess just the unknown is my biggest fear. Yeah.
My biggest fear is violence. Is violence. Biggest fear.
My biggest fear is not getting where I thought I would get in life. Like, I have goals as a person, so my biggest fear is not achieving one or two of those goals that I've planned all of my life. So that's my biggest fear.
About a year ago, I came into recovery. Before, I was very disconnected from myself, disconnected from people, lived in an alternate reality that just became super dark. And coming into recovery gave me a second chance at life. I think for the longest time, I didn't have a life. And when I got recovery, I got given a new life, and one that I'm able to be present in and able to connect with other people. My biggest fear, I think it's losing the new life I've been given, messing it up, going back. But I guess I just trust that whatever's meant to happen will happen at the end of the day.
It's failing in life, becoming a failure. That's really my biggest fear. I don't want to become nothing. It's like I wasted my time doing everything, going to school. Yeah, I don't want that. Failure is basically like you are poor. Okay, I can say, yeah, being poor. I don't want that. It's something that I don't want. I want to be able to get something for myself without having to work for someone else or cleaning someone else's house. I want to be my own person.
My biggest fear is one day when my mom is not there anymore for me. That's my biggest fear.
Disobedience. By that I mean arriving at a place where I knew in my heart that God was somehow communicating something that I should be doing or must be doing, or He made it evident in some way. Maybe not so obvious in the Bible or something like that, even through creation, because creation testifies. Just knowing and recognizing all of that and still not giving Him the glory or sort of acknowledging Him for who He is. Arriving at that point and looking Him face to face and knowing that I knew that, but I didn't go that way. That would be such a big fear. What would happen?
It's losing a close loved one. There's nothing I fear more than that.
I think it's not fulfilling my path, because I know internally that I've something I need to contribute, somehow, and not being able to achieve that is my fear, and also not being able to support my family. I think I'm afraid of not being able to do that. Yeah.
To love anything less than what God designed and purposed for me. So if my calling was a specific thing, and even though I reached success as in the world's terms, I would feel like that would just be the biggest failure, because I believe God designed me in such a way that He knew that my purpose would just be so in line with what He designed it to be, and it would just be so much because He knows me, and the way He designed my purpose would be something that would fit me.
I don't really fear death, but I fear irrational violence. I'm aware that there's a lot of violence across the world. I mean, it just is heartbreaking what is going on in Sudan, Ukraine, Afghanistan, so many places. It's horrible. But there's something about irrational violence that we experience in this country that horrifies me. It is so dehumanizing and so you can't do anything to stand up to it. You know, if somebody's on drugs, there's no reason. They will just do terrible things. So I guess that's probably the thing that I fear the most.
I feel like what happens after death, the people you leave behind, and just what happens, because I don't think anybody really knows. So yeah, it's quite scary to me.
My biggest fear is we know we're gonna end our time. Everyone got his own time. My biggest fear is my mother's death.
My biggest fear is, it's funny because it's my biggest fear, but it's also something that I love. Water. And I'm really scared of water, scared of drowning, but I also really love water. I love being in water. I have, yes, actually childhood trauma. I have been pushed into water, and I've had, I don't know if you guys like where people go to prophets and sangomas and they dip you in water and they dunk you and they take you out. Yeah, that's where the water fear comes from. But I still love water. I was probably like maybe 8 or 9, quite young, and it stuck with me. I remember the day and what I was wearing. Yeah.
Like the idea of loneliness in a sense. You know, I'm a very sociable person. I like to hang out with my friends all the time, and I guess my biggest fear would probably be being without friends or companionship in that sense.
Dying off and not living a meaningful life, I think. I think a lot of the time I feel like I'm going through the motions. Every day I wake up, go to school, come back, sleep, work, eat. I think, yeah, it's just going through the motions. So sometimes I need sometimes slow down and appreciate the things that life has for me. Even though I can complain about a lot of things in my life, I think I need to be grateful for my life, the things I do have in my life.
You know what? Everything relates to my surgery at the moment. And the biggest decision was saying, yes, do the surgery of my back. It'll just make me better. Had you asked me 5 weeks ago, maybe it would have been a different answer. But those are my answers for the moment. What is my biggest fear? Again, it just comes back to my surgery. Healing from my back surgery. I've just had a clot on the lung. And that was a big fear. And I'm getting well.
Failure. Yeah, that's a big one for me. And for someone that has been on a long journey in my career, so what I'm doing is taking 7 years. So, I mean, failing after the 7th year, not being able to accomplish what I want to accomplish by the 7th year, I feel like that would be really daunting for me, because it's like, I've spent so much of my life and I still have to continue. Yeah, and just, not also being able to deal with the failure. Yeah.